All right. Welcome back to On the Sideline with Stomsky, the host, with a special version, extended version with my guest today, Dom Vacchiano. How are you doing today, Dom?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. I know you guys had what was it, a game or a scrimmage today? What was that?
We had a game. We had a playoff game for our fall league. It was good. We won. We beat Berks Catholic.
So you guys move on now?
Yeah. Well, we moved on. It was all in one day, so the semifinal was right after, and we lost to Conestoga, but we were tired. The first game killed us.
And what position do you play?
I play shooting guard.
What do you like about being a shooting guard?
Um, it's fun because you got a shooting guard is a very important position. You gotta be able to dribble. You gotta be able to shoot, create, make plays. You're like a secondary point guard out there. Like you got to be able to do everything and be in control of the game.
All right. Well, to start off, I'm going to talk about last season, then we'll move into what's going on. Then we'll go to this season, and then anything else. So
Yep.
looking back at last season, I mean, you guys started off 2-8, but then turned everything around, went 8-4. Unfortunately, missed the playoffs just barely. But like, what happened, at that midseason point that turned everything around?
You know, the first half of the season we had it was more of an identity crisis for us. Like we had three of the I think me between me, Earl, and Jaylon, we were the top three guards in the league, in my opinion. And we weren't functioning well together because we all were trying to be that number one option. But throughout the season, once we got to that midpoint, um, we talked it over and we just decided like whoever's hot, get them the ball. Um, there were games where I would have 25, 30. There were games Jalon would have 20 and I'd have 10. Like same with Earl. And, it was just we were playing more as a team. We knew we had to win big games. We went on like a 8 or 9, 10 game win streak in a row. So, I think it was just an unfortunate first half. And if we did squeak into the playoffs, I think we would have done some damage. I think we definitely would have upset whoever we played. But it's just how the season goes sometimes.
Now, I do want to mention, Jalen, Earl, and even Andrew Slackman, good defender. Those seniors are
Yep.
now gone. Now you're the senior. You have it's a you, Gabe, Gabe, Nigel. I mean, a bunch of other seniors on the team also. But
Yeah,
like,
Braden.
yeah, Braden. Sorry, Braden also. But like, how are those seniors that you lost this year going to impact the team this year?
It's kind of crazy because I'm the only starter returning, believe it or not. And Gabe's coming back from his ACL. Bray, he was our sixth man last year. Me and Bray complement each other really well. We pretty much play the same position. You can call it what you want, small forward, shooting guard. We're the same player pretty much, and you know we're always on the same page. Me and him have a great connection, great chemistry, and it goes a long way when two guards are clicking throughout the entire game. And same with Gabe. Like he's an undersized forward this year, and me and him have some of the best chemistry you'll see in the league. And he's been stepping up. Like he obviously wants to be a scorer, but with me and Braden out there and Nico at the point guard, Gabe had to take on the more of a defensive rebounding role. And he's been excelling at it so far. And I think the difference between this year and last year is our chemistry. Like our chemistry this year is unlike any other. We finished the preseason 10-3. And yeah, we just we're looking to come in and do damage, surprise a lot of people this year.
Now, I mean, like I said, going back to last season, the playoffs. I mean, you guys just missed it, but a lot of the trouble came from second half, second half point because you guys came out hot in the first. I mean, against PW, especially your last game of the year, you guys were up a bunch, and then the third quarter came around, and you guys kind of like they pulled back in, and then unfortunately came down to the final shot in the fourth quarter, leaving you guys
Yep.
out of the playoffs. But like that happened more than once where you guys were up and then you kind of lost the lead. What was going on
Yeah.
with that? Was it like just something was kind of like exhaustion, or was it kind of like something more to that?
You know what it was? We were trying to play keep away too much. Instead of keeping our foot on their neck and the foot on the gas, we decided to hold the ball, move it around, and take a shot after passing it for a minute. And after a while, teams are going to come down, which it happened on Silent Night against UD and PW at the end of the season, which are two very good teams. They came down, they'd score. We'd come down, we wouldn't score. We'd just pass the ball around. And I think it was on our end, and it's just something we had to fix, which we couldn't because it was so late in the season. But as of this year, from what I've seen, the whole game we've just been scoring. Like, there's never been a drought where, we've had to come back from a lead. We've always jumped out to a great lead, and we've kept it most of our games this year. And, hopefully it translates into the season.
Now, I do want to mention, the solid PW and Solid Night. I mean, those teams in the past 2 years, you've gone 1-3 against them. Last year, you guys got swept by both those teams.
Yep.
How upsetting was that to be, swept by both those teams, especially the fact that you guys had the lead on them in 2 games?
I think Silent Night was one of them because I think I played one of my best games of the season that night. And, it was just, we were having a bad season, and we went into the game knowing it was going to be a fight. And to jump out to a lead and blow it, I think it was, for me, like, I feel like we let the fans down, a lot of people down. And, motivation going into this year that I'm a senior now, I'm our leader, I'm our number one. Like, I'm not going to let that happen again. Like, I'm taking everything that happened last year, and I'm going to put it into play this year. And, we're going to come out with a win on Silent Night.
Now, you guys had a shock. Let me phrase that. First things first, you guys had a disappointing, shocking loss to Quakertown early in the year. But then you guys had a shocking win against Abington, which was, kind of like not like you guys. I mean, losing to Quakertown and beating Abington was, very not natural. Like, what happened with Quakertown and Abington that kind of, what were the issues with Quakertown, benefits of playing, against Abington at that time?
Quakertown, I think it was, like I said earlier, it was an identity crisis for us. I think it was our fifth game of the season, and it was our first Friday night home game. And, it's just how it is sometimes. Like, we all were trying to show out, and as a team, and Quakertown came out and they punched us in our throat first 5 minutes of the game, and they shocked us. Like, we took them lightly, and they came out ready to play. Basketball is a game where anybody can win. It doesn't matter. So you just got to come out and bring that fight every single game. And then going to the Abington game, it was adversity for us. We were fighting through adversity at that time, and we all came out. That was a game I actually came off the bench, because I was late to practice. I was late to practice after the Quakertown game, and our assistant coach Chase Wilson was like, this is an adversity game for us. Like, you need to come off the bench and just do what you do. Make the plays. And I didn't score a lot that game, but I made a lot of big plays that game, and it helped us. It definitely helped us win.
Now, like I said, we're going into this season. You already mentioned Gabe being back, how he benefits the team, how he helps it out. But you haven't mentioned, your brother Nico, sophomore. I mean, he's probably gonna be a starter. How does it feel to be playing with with your brother?
It's fun. It's really fun because I'm with him every single day. I work out with him every single day. Like, just for him to follow what I've been doing he's seen me. I've been on part of varsity since my freshman year. He's been watching me play on varsity for 4 years now, and I think for him to finally be a part of it, I think it's definitely given him like a motivation factor. And just knowing this is the first and only time we're probably going to play together, it's lit a fire under him. He played freshman team last year. He probably should have played JV. And, that's definitely, he's put in a lot of work this offseason to prove himself as that starting point guard role this year. He's not mainly, he's a pass first point guard, and he's a nasty defender. He's our best defender on our team. And, he's going to bring a lot of energy for us this year.
Now, I want to mention, I mean, obviously Nico's a new player and Gabe coming back. I wouldn't say he's new, but he's kind of getting back into the groove. But what other new players, have you seen, kind of shock you, jump up to to the varsity level surprisingly, and like I said, shock you, surprise you.
You know, Mike Malton, he's a junior for us this year. Last year he was starting center on JV. Like I said with Gabe, he's another undersized forward. He's about 6'1", 6'2", maybe. And he just goes out there and plays his role. That's why he's starting. He rebounds, he plays defense, he talks on defense, and he makes plays. Like he gets me the ball in my spots where I need him to score, and he's developed this offseason very well, in my opinion. And he's going to be a great leader for us this year, vocally and physically.
Now, somebody you didn't mention already, the freshman Kaj.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's probably most likely play some varsity time. Maybe not a lot, but some. How has he been
Uh,
as how has he been as the freshman? I mean, do you guys see him as maybe the future with other players?
Kaj reminds me a lot of me my freshman year. Like he wants to get on the court. He wants to score. He wants to win. He's a great player for us. He's been a great ad for us. He'll probably be our sixth man this year off the bench. And I told him we're gonna use him as mainly a defender, but when we need a bucket, if me or Bray are out of the game, it's gonna go to Kaj. Um, he's definitely developed a lot since he started playing with us. He's had his ups and his downs, but that's how it is when you're a six man. Like there's some games you're gonna play 20 minutes or some games you're gonna play 5. It all depends on who we're playing and how the game's going. But he's been playing well so far for us, and he's gonna give us a great lift off the bench.
Now I forgot to ask, but you kind of already talked about it, the undersized, issue. I mean, you had Owen
Mm-hmm.
Coughlin who left to he left. He left. He transferred over to the Philly school.
Yep.
How are you guys going to compete with other teams when they have centers are like 6'6", 6'7"?
We played Rock Top Academy a few weeks back, and they had a 7-footer, and we ended up beating them by 15, 20 points. And the one thing about us is we press, run, and run in transition. Um, there's not a lot of teams that have three quick, strong guards. And with us, we press the whole game. We run in transition, and when teams got bigger guys, they can't keep up with us. And it's good for Mike and Gabe because Gabe's a guard, so he's gonna have a bigger guy on him all the time. He's quicker, more athletic than him. We give it to him down low. It's an easy layup. We just have to play smarter, not harder than teams, and we've been doing that so far. And again, our chemistry is on point this year. It's so much better than last year, and you know, we're gonna shock a lot of people this season for sure.
Now, most high school teams, including you guys, a lot, you guys are on three or only two or three guys off the bench. Now, not
Yep.
only does that mean you guys are running a lot, but how does the bench, who do you see coming off the bench that's going to be kind of, a game changer?
You know, we talked about Kaj being our sixth man. Nigel's definitely going to be a huge factor for us this year. He's a great defender. He's probably top 3 defender on the team as well as a top 3 shooter. I told him same thing with Kaj. He might not play a lot. He might play a lot in some games, but his goal to go out there is to play as hard as he can, play defense, shoot the ball when he's open, and use his 5 fouls to his advantage. He's probably not going to play in the fourth quarter, maybe a little in the third, more of a first half player, but go out there and do some damage for us and give our other guards a rest.
Now, sorry, I'm continuing.
Yeah, I wanted to bring another guy up. Delmar. He's 6'6", probably 240. He's a unit, and we can throw him in for a little bit in the games this year because nobody can really guard him. You throw it up to him up top, he's unguardable. He turns, catches, and he shoots, and he makes it every time. And it's just one of those things where it throws the team off a little bit because they don't know how to guard him. And teams are going to be focused on our guard play that when we throw him in there, they're not going to know what to do. So I think there's a lot of guys off the bench this year that are really going to surprise us.
And I already asked, I kind of like already brought it up, but didn't really get explain on it more. Stamina. You're gonna be running a lot of only the two, three guys come off the bench. Do you like playing a lot more, or do you kind of like being balanced out there?
You know, I've since my sophomore year, I've played the whole game, and you know, I I think as long as you're conditioned, it will be fine. There's going to be subs here and there, but throughout the offseason so far, we've been fine pressing and running, and it's very effective because it takes a team out of their game and it makes it easier for us on offense. So, um, yeah, it's definitely just get conditioned and we'll be fine.
Now, last year I asked you this question. I'm going to ask you right now. What team do you look forward to play the most? Last year you said PW. Do you want to play PW the most this year, or is it a different team this year?
Um, it's always fun to play PW. It's always it's like an unspoken on rivalry between us and PW. But yeah, I'd definitely say PW and UD are my top two teams to play this year, just because of the history. The hype around the games. You get great showouts from students, fans, the entire each time we play them. So, and it's definitely like when you beat teams like that, it's definitely like it's fun. It makes it fun for the school, the players, the coaches. So yeah, definitely UD and PW.
Now I'm gonna go. Now we're done with the this year. We're gonna talk about extra other stuff, right? Now I
Uh-huh.
want to ask. Now I want to ask you. Do you have any interest or offer some colleges?
Yeah, I do. I have three off from D3 schools. I don't know what you call them, offers, roster spots, whatever. But um, DeSales, Arcadia, Del Val, Gwen and Mercy, York College of PA. Um, who else am I forgetting? Albright and Alvernia are the seven D3s that I have. And then for the D2s, I've been talking to Chestnut Hill on and off. Um, Kutztown, Shippensburg, and Mansfield all showed interest, and they're most likely going to come out this year. But financial aid has got pushed back to December, so they can't offer anything yet because of money packages and all that stuff. So, it's just a waiting game for me now to commit. Probably going to commit January, February, that time.
So you haven't really thought about a school you want to go to yet,
Um, you know,
or is there
since
one that you kind of like? Maybe.
since the D2s haven't came into play yet, it's definitely my top two have definitely been between DeSales and Arcadia. They're the two best teams in their division. They played in the MAC championship last year against each other, and they're two great schools, great, well coached. I love the coaches on both sides. And if it did come down to it, it'd probably be a very hard decision for me to choose.
Now, have you faced like a setback in your career playing basketball that you kind of had to overcome? And if you did, how did you overcome that issue?
I'm not gonna lie to you. It was last season was definitely one of the biggest setbacks. I worked really hard my sophomore going into junior year. Um, we had the talent. It was just we didn't have the chemistry. And, going 1-9 to start the season isn't ideally the way you want to start. And like at the end of the season when we finished, I was not happy at all. I was actually very frustrated. Went through a lot that those first couple months, and then you started. I got back to work, and then the whole summer I've just been in the gym, working out, getting stronger. And my game fully developed from being just like a shooter slash slasher to being like a whole all around player. And I think that's what's going to help us this year is that a lot of teams they can't just run me off the 3-point line now because I'm going to drive, get by them, either get a dunk or get an M1 at the rim. So yeah, it's definitely been a great off season for me so far, and look forward to put this work to play in the next month.
Now, talking about club, fall season, even middle, even like all going all the way back to your early days of playing basketball. Have there
Yep.
been any games that you've kind of like a special to you that you remember like so clear?
Um, there's a couple. One, I'm gonna start out last year's Silent Night. You know, the way our season was going and we weren't playing our best, like that show out from the fans and the community, like that game was like a blur. Like I didn't even recognize anything the fans not until after the game when I watched film, and it's like you take moments like that for granted. Like I look back on it now and I'm like this is gonna be my last Silent Night game ever. And I haven't won a Silent Night yet. I lost my sophomore year and I lost last year my junior year. So, I think it'd be great for the fans, the community, and like even the team just to get one win on Silent Night.
What sets you apart from other athletes, not only on the team but like out in the region?
I think it's my work ethic and my edge on the court. Like I work like I don't get tired of the grind. Like a lot of kids they stop halfway through high school because they don't want to put the work in, etc. Like all that, etc. Um, but my edge especially because when I step on that court, like there's nothing more. Like there's no friendly stuff. It's all business out there, and I play with a certain intensity that I don't take anything from anybody. Like I'm more of like I have like Pat Bev energy when I go out there, and it can help us most of the time, but sometimes it can hurt us. And that's one thing my coach has told me. Like he needs me to play with it, but take it down a notch. But like it's just one of those things I have. Like I have a love for the game, and nobody's gonna take that from me.
What would you say your best skill is? In your what would you say what your best skill is, and how did you get to how do you get to that? Being your best.
I'd say my best skill is probably shooting. And just getting up reps. Like being in the gym, getting on the gun. Shooting 2, 3, 400 shots a day. It goes a long way. Um, like kept wide open catch and shoots are automatic for me. I don't miss many. And you know, after you get that down, you start working on creating shots. And this offseason, I become very deadly. Off the dribble, off a screen, catch and shoot threes. Um, and that's where most of my points are going to come from. But if teams are denying me the ball, I can create inside the paint too. Get and ones, finish, transition play, dunks, all that stuff. So it's like my game is fully developed to the point I want it. I just need to excel at the other things now so I can get ready for the college level.
Now, I mean, you're a student athlete and you're playing basketball during spring, fall,
Yep.
even in the winter. How have you been able to balance both, school life, outside life, and basketball life?
Yeah. Being a committed athlete, it takes a lot of commitment. Like your outside life, you kind of have to put to the side until you get some downtime. But um, I don't do it like I'll go to school, come home 1, 2, 3 hours maybe, do my schoolwork, all that, and then 5, 6 o'clock I'm going to the gym until 9, 10 o'clock at night, and then I'm coming home going to bed, and I'm doing that, you know, the whole school year. And like during the off season, like right now, the fall, we got games on Saturday. So Friday night I'm recovering. Me and my brother, um, our friend, we do recovery every Friday before our games. Um, and AAU was the same thing. Like there was no school, so I'd wake up, I'd go to the gym, I'd have practice every day, and then we'd have our tournaments on the weekend. So, there was really no outside life for me. And, it's just one thing that you have to accept. And all committed athletes will tell you the same thing. Gabe will tell you the same thing, like you got to put basketball first and worry about your outside life after.
My last question for you. What
Yep.
advice would you give to, people that, younger kids that want to watch this? What would you say to them to get to, the top levels of being an athlete?
I'm gonna tell them one thing: don't take anything for granted. Like I remember I was playing seventh grade basketball like it was yesterday, and now I'm a senior going into my last high school season ever. So it's like, you know, you just gotta, put the work in early, and live in the moment, live every live every day to the fullest, and you know just just keep working. Like your time's gonna come. It's got a timetable, and you got to be patient.
All right, thank you, Dom. Hope you guys have a great season this year.
All right, thank you.
I mean, that's recording.